Welcome to humanity. This is Hour 1.
Whatever it takes, we got to say whatever it takes is what it took.
This is Brock Lesnar, and you're listening to Fight Net Radio.
Yo, hi, this is Sugar Ray Leonard, and you listen to Fight Net Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to listen to Fight Net Radio.
Lee Harvey Oswald, what's your name? How am I supposed to know you?
This is Frank Shamrock. We're listening to Fight Net Radio.
Hi, this is Tia, the Knockout St. John, and you're listening to Fight Net Radio, and there's no way I would ever touch Lee.
This is Chuck Jackson.
I am Stephen Bonner, and you're listening to Fight Net Radio.
Dan Henderson, you're listening to Fight Net Radio.
Everybody, welcome to Fight Net Radio, where Lee's burning every bridge there is out there. All right.
Well, hi, this is Manny Pacquiao. I'll fight anybody on FightNetRadio.com.
But it's a fact. You know what I mean? How dare them even challenge me, these fighters? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? With their primitive boxing skills. You know what I mean? They're as good as dead.
The Fight Net Radio, Lee Honish, Andrew Lomachenko, bringing you the wonderful world of boxing. Andrew is a writer. I am a glorified fan / tool bag / asshole, here for your personal amusement to make boxing more enjoyable. How are you today, Andrew?
Very good.
You know, I listen back and I don't like my voice. I don't like my cadence. I don't like much about listening to myself these days.
Oh, well, that's not good, Lee.
I know, and I have to listen to these shows to record them. First and foremost,
hey, you know it's funny?
Yeah.
Sometimes when I listen back, I laugh at the same jokes I laugh to while I'm on air. It's like on cue. It's hella weird.
Look, for those that listen, the only reason I tell jokes is for the strict reason of making Andrew laugh. I mean, most of you find them enjoyable, and hopefully you've. I was reading reviews of the show recently. Wow. It's an interesting to see the fan perspective. The show is okay, was the definition, and I'm just cracking jokes all the time, which seems to irritate certain people for some reason. I thought that was the point of the show. I could talk serious boxing, but I don't know if that would be worthwhile. So, first and foremost, let me thank Top Rank for allowing me to come to their event last night. Lomachenko. Nice. We were at the Microsoft Theater, downtown Los Angeles.
Hey, Lee.
Big shout out to all the Fight Net Radio fans who got free drinks. I got off the hook pretty easy. And I would also say this. Andrew's family wasn't there, so it didn't cost me very much at all. It was a cheap night for me. Go ahead, Andrew.
Very impressed with the ESPN Top Rank merger right now. I mean, we are getting some quality fights, quality, what is it? Just the show, Lee.
The production value is really high.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And I will even say this, because I got there around 5. I know for all of you listening who've never been to a live fight and think fights actually start when the fight is supposed to start, you're wrong. This fight card started at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, went all the way till 7. I know ESPN, you watched it on TV, got pushed back because of...
Fucking Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame, right? So ESPN2 actually got the one of the undercard fights.
At first, they were just streaming it, Lee. At first, they just told us we're going to stream it. You got to go download an app. And I don't think that's started doing very well because about 15 minutes later, it finally said, go to ESPN2, the fight's on. And that's when I clicked over. Not watching it on no app. I couldn't believe, I knew they were going to wait, Lee. That's what I can't, everyone's calling me, right? Family, friends, they're calling me, hey, where are the fights? I'm saying, don't worry, Top Rank is going to delay it. They're not going to push through until they got that TV.
They're not.
Yeah, and just like you said, they waited.
I had 3 trips to Starbucks. And for those of you who know nothing about LA Live, that means that I had to exit the building, walk over to Starbucks. I had to charge my phone twice. I mean, I was there forever by fight standards.
Lomachenko packed more people into that arena than they did at the NFL Hall of Fame ceremony. It was pretty empty, Lee. That was not impressive at all at the Hall of Fame.
That happens. So let's talk about this thing. So the actual fights that you guys should have been watching really started about 7 o'clock, right? They got pushed back. Everything kind of got out of hand. I
would say about 8. The fight card was supposed to start at 7.
7, right. But the fight card got pushed back to 8 o'clock.
It's about 8 o'clock, yes.
So look, they figured this out early on, and they kind of dragged their feet. So at 7 o'clock, they put on Chicas versus Barboza that got moved over to ESPN2, which was originally supposed to be on the app. I don't know how they figured out timing. I'm telling you, there was always a fight. There was never any downtime, even when they moved to 8 o'clock. Go figure. I mean, after the Chicas fight, maybe there was a little bit of a time delay till they got on at 8, but they had this pretty well timed out. Like, everything was hitting all the time markers, at least from my standpoint. And I didn't really start paying attention. That's not fair. All right. I got there around Gonzalez and Falcao. You know, when they do those 8-round filler things that take up the bulk of the afternoon. I watched a couple of those. They were okay. There was nothing that stood out on the card. The interesting fight really was the 7 o'clock fight with Chicas versus Barboza. That's when I became a little more interested in everything that was going on. And I will tell you why. There's a reason for that. I am convinced that somebody told these kids that they were fighting on ESPN2 and they weren't fighting on the app. Like, the fight dramatically changed between the two of them. Like, the energy of the fight, everything about the fight was totally different. Now, with that said, it was a pretty close fight on most of the scorecards. But what made it interesting, towards the middle of the fight, they each knocked each other down for one round, right? So one guy knocked one guy down, one guy knocked the other guy down. So we had 10-8 rounds back-to-back. And by the end of the evening, so I don't get these wrong, right? They had which guy did they have? Where's Krebs? No, I'm looking at the scorecards. There's a unanimous decision, right? And they gave it all to Barboza, as it should have been. But
well, at least they got it right.
They got it right. I mean, but the energy in the fight from about the 4th or 5th round, like, they knew. I mean, watching the fight, these guys knew that this was like their shot on TV. That's what stood out to me. I'm never going to hear about these two fighters again. No one is. I mean, legitimately. They weren't top-ranked guys. They were literally fillers that they had structured in there to either go on TV or the app.
It wasn't a showcase. No one was undefeated, anything like
one
that.
Of them, I want to say that one of them was undefeated and still undefeated. I think Barboza was undefeated.
Yeah, most of the time on those fillers, that's what it is. It's top ranks, younger, stable, trying to build a record. You know what I mean?
But the point to it was, and everybody go back and watch it. These guys literally knew, like, they fought like they knew that this was their one shot on TV to get some exposure. I'm telling you.
There's going to be a lot more, because I really think, this whole weekend was good for ESPN. They had Golden Boy fighting on Friday night, and they had Top Rank fighting on Saturday. Golden Boy, Herrera versus Soto Caras, they might have had the round of the year in that fight. Lomachenko, possibly fighter of the year if he takes on another match by the end. So it's the ESPN just had a great weekend. This is nothing like the PBC has ever brought into the television. The quality. Look, that was one of our biggest knocks.
So first of all, it's the quality of the production. It's the way it's run.
No.
It's an actual partnership, not somebody buying time on ESPN like PBC did.
Look at how many people
I'm telling you, the vibe
backstage.
the vibe backstage was totally different. Everybody was approachable. There was a strong media turnout. Okay, it's a good fight, and it's a big deal because it's Lomachenko. But I'm telling you, the big three came in for this fight card. This is on scale to be, it's not an arena fight, and I wouldn't say it's a ballroom fight, but it's definitely a showcase fight for Vasyl. The big three came out. Like, I don't know if you can say that for all the PBC fights. I don't know if you're always getting, here's the thing by putting a fight in LA or Los Angeles, right? You're going to get Ioli, you're going to get Lance Pugmire, you're going to get, Fat Ass to fly out from the East Coast. It was a good media, there was a strong media presence.
Yeah, Lomachenko is pound, a lot of them have him pound for pound, Lee.
Yeah, but let's be honest. And I was thinking this and talking to one person about it. I don't know why I'm sitting there. Like, I didn't get why we were there watching a showcase fight with Lomachenko. I don't want to get into it too much just yet because that would graze over what happened in the previous fight, which is newsworthy all by itself, which is Beltran and Vasquez. You watched that fight, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you saw the same thing I did, which was given 2 more rounds, Vasquez would have knocked him out. Beltran was out of gas.
Yeah, well, he was hurt in the end of that fight. Yeah, he was hurt bad. So
here's
more,
my
but there wasn't 2 more rounds.
Let me tell you my first problem.
It's been years since that, Lee.
Okay, so first of all, Brian Vasquez, who is a Roy Jones Jr. fighter, they brought him in from Vegas. My guess is they were feeding him to Beltran. He was literally, physically watching the fight 2 to 3 weight classes smaller than Beltran.
Yeah,
did it come across that way?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Okay.
His arm length, everything, Lee. He didn't even look like he has the right body size for boxing in general. I don't know what division you put him in, but definitely too much muscle mass and too short of arms. I didn't have him winning. I give him a lot of credit for standing up through some of those punches. Beltran can slug, and that kid took a lot of leather on the ropes.
Right.
Stood in there, he never really cracked, So yeah, he's gonna be back. It's just he's gonna be like Yuri Boy Compas. That's all I kept seeing when I was watching him fight. Heavy-handed, good, exciting fighter, but just some of his disadvantages in size is what's going to probably hold him back in the future, in his future coming up in this sport.
Were you surprised at how close the scorecards actually were?
Yes, I was.
So was so was everybody ringside.
Okay, well then Lee, I might have started not paying attention because I really thought Beltran was going to stop this kid. It really looked like Vasquez kept retreating to the ropes and was taking a lot of punches, and at some point he was going to get dropped. So I might have stopped paying attention in the last 2 to 3 rounds, and maybe Vasquez did bring it on to get the points for a close fight. But no, I had Ray Beltran up ahead. I actually thought he was going to stop him. They kept bringing up, I know you don't hear it ringside, they kept bringing up his green card status again last night. They were doing it in a much more professional way than Max Kellerman did, obviously, Lee. They kept talking about how it was some clause that if you're an excellent athlete, you can, if you're showing that you're contributing to this country in a positive way by being an athlete, that they'll allow you to stay on a visa. So a lot more professional way, but they kept laying on that heavy. And it was really sad because I'm going to tell you, Lee, if you go back and watch the replay from Ray Beltran, it looks like he wants nothing to do with that story. They kept throwing it out there to him, and he's dancing around the question. And it's like, I don't know who's the one that keeps bringing up that he's fighting for a green card, but they might want to ask the fighter if he really wants that as the main story of his career. He can't really fight for a title if this is the story, because we don't want him to lose, right? And I'm not saying that he's going to lose, but he's definitely the underdog when he steps into the ring with any of the champions. So why would they keep pumping this story in there that he needs to win and the guy's so close to making the biggest check of his life?
I mean, that's honestly the choice of the marketing department for Top Rank, and I get that they're doing it, but it's high. Look, he was in a great